Hey guys, it is Chris back here again with another episode of Magic the Gathering. Today we will be playing our standard 3 games, and we will be playing with a Shrines deck. Now, Shrines came out, I think, in the last core set. Probably the last core set. And they were played a bit at the actual opening of the core set, but they quickly fell off because there's a lot more powerful things you can be doing. You can get 2 or 3 shrines down. Got a pretty commanding board position, even without anything else going on. The game plan of this deck in particular is just Wrath and Shrines, yeah. So we have some number of copies of each of the 6 shrines. I think we're only running 4 of the 5-color shrine, and the rest were more in the 1 to 2 to 3 range. But there are some shrines you want to see every game, and then there are other shrines that you rather prefer to just tutor up when you need them. Like the white one, it's more of a tutor up when you need it. The blue and green one you pretty much want every game, and then the red one you'll want some of the times in games. In this deck in particular, the red shrine is not as important, because generally the function of the red shrine is to work as the removal of your deck, but because we're running so many Wrath, that's our removal. The black shrine is also one of the shrines you really want in high demand, but you really only want a few of them. The black is your kill condition, because when it's on the battlefield with the other 5 shrines, it procs twice thanks to the 5-color shrine, which means you get 12 life off of it and deal 12 damage. That'll end the game pretty quickly. The green shrine is just really good for mana production. Now here that turn we probably should have went and got blue mana off of our shrine, and then procced into our blue shrine. But getting down the Dryad means that all of our lands tap for anything. So there was at least some reason behind our decision. We don't really know what our opponent is playing. We know that they're playing some Yorion pile that ends up being, at the very least, Mardu. So we attack in for 2. We have our shrine down now, so next turn we can actually start drawing cards. Draw 3, discard 1, pretty decent rate. On a 4-mana enchantment that requires some upkeep, that's actually probably pretty not good, but the ceiling of the card is well worth it. So we got our 5-color shrine. We actually don't need to get any specific mana to play it, because the 5 mana that we have can tap for any color thanks to the Dryad. And we have a red shrine down now as well. So we got 2 shrines down this turn. We're up to 5. Next turn we shoot out the black shrine, and everything procs twice. That's pretty much game. Our opponent would need, like, a big removal spell. I accidentally hit the button up there. I was playing with the waterfall. You get bored sometimes. Traitorous Blood means our Dryad betrays us, but they don't look to be a sack deck, so we're not too worried about it. We'll get it back. Search your library. We're going to get the Shrine of Fangs, Stone Fangs, and then here come the triggers. That is a beautiful amount of triggers. We're only going to draw 6 here. We don't need to draw 12, because we just have to discard everything at the end of the turn anyways. So we'll decline the second trigger. We'll add red mana. 12 red mana off of our shrines. Pretty decent. Discard a land, kill Yorion, and play a Showdown of the Skulls. Pretty decent. Get a couple of lands. Play a Goose. Goose is also in the deck for mana fixing. Our game plan is mainly shrines, wrath, mana fixing. Our green shrine kind of does part of the mana fixing for us. There are more shrines in Historic, so you can play 10 shrine in Historic, but the Historic shrines are weaker than the standard ones, which is pretty bad all things considered, because the standard ones probably aren't good enough to be a deck anyways. Some of them are really good. Like, overall, I think the red shrine and the blue shrine are better in the Historic set, because I think the red shrine allows you to deal damage without paying, but it's only once per turn, and the blue shrine is just straight draw as opposed to draw and discard. They don't have some of the newer safety valves, like you can't decline a draw. And the green shrine in the other one just makes 1/1 tokens for 5 mana, which isn't very great. But if you're getting 10 1/1 tokens for a turn, it's worth it. Unfortunately, your opponent's generally dead by then. I think the black is discard of the original shrines. There isn't an original 5-color shrine, because they were a Kamigawa set, and Kamigawa was mainly a monocolor set. There were a few multicolor cards, but mainly monocolored. And Magic the Gathering is like that. It has a lot of sets that are tailored around certain things. Like currently in Standard, our multicolored sets are Strixhaven and Ikoria, because they're both heavily multicolored based. Now our opponent is playing some kind of learn deck. I haven't actually seen too much of this in Standard, but the Village Rites plus Denitha is not a good combo for us, especially with the Magecraft. You can't block a Menace creature. It's a little sad for us. We're going to add white and try to Showdown of the Skulls into something good. So we get a Stonefangs and a World Tree. Not great all things considered, but we make do with what we can. Get down our In Search of Greatness. In Search of Greatness is in the deck because it allows us to cheat out shrines a little bit quicker. I don't actually know if it's worth it, but the shrines do go up the curve. The white one's on 1, black one's on 2, red and green are 3, blue is 4, and then you have the 5-color one. So there is an argument for it being practical as far as the effect of In Search of Greatness, because In Search of Greatness allows you to add permanent to the battlefield equal to 1 plus the, I think it's the highest cost on your battlefield. Unfortunately for us, our opponent has pretty much gotten what they need from the game. I can't see too many ways for us to actually get back into this. They have a lot of tokens. So we Showdown again, hoping that we can outvalue our opponent with massive card draw. Probably not going to work, but we do what we can. Now, in retrospect here, I should have abandoned the idea of going for the big 5-color shrine here and done that next turn, and instead I should have got the red shrine and just kept up a little bit of mana. Because the red shrine would actually have saved us here on this upcoming turn. Because with Denise on the battlefield, all of those pests are basically... Our opponent has basically done a build your own Blood Artist type effect going on here. If the pests die, they gain a life. Whenever they gain a life, we lose a life thanks to Denitha. So, yeah. We got by Build Your Own Blood Artist. I'm pretty sure that's how this ended. In retrospect, I can't say with certainty, but it's a coming. Yep. And honestly, the Pest Build Your Own Blood Artist combo here, really cool. I mean, we spent most of our time during this game digging for a Wrath, but at this point a Wrath wouldn't even save us. And this is actually, here's the... I guess that wasn't the kill, but the kill is coming. Because there is a card from Strixhaven that basically says, sacrifice any number of creatures, you draw one card and lose one life for each sacrificed creature. But it doesn't do it that way, it does it in the stack in that you're copying the spell for each time, so... Basically what happens is... Yep, there it is. They sacrifice 12 creatures, they get 12 copies of the spell, they gain 12 life, we lose 12 life, and then they get their triggers from their 2 witches on the battlefield, which means they make something like 20 or 30, I guess it's around 26 new pests, because that's how the Magecraft ability on the witch works. So we let them go through it, even though we are technically dead on board. We can't block both the witches, we can only block one. If they attack with both, that's the game. But we make sure that they actually do it. Don't want to go out without actually having done anything. So we double block. Kill at least one witch on the way out the door and die at -1. That was game 2. So we're moving on to game 3 here. Our opening hand is not great, but we are going to keep it, I guess. Probably not the right decision, but what can you do? It's another Learn deck, apparently. We did not know Learn decks were so popular. So we get out a Gilded Goose. Learn decks in particular are kind of bad for us, because part of the reason why you would want to play Shrines in Standard is because when there are a lot of good creatures and a lot of good spells in Standard, sometimes people will forget, or basically sometimes people will play decks without answers to enchantments because there isn't really a deck that's in the meta at that moment around that certain type of permanent. So you can get games where you can basically sit out there with 5 shrines without worrying about the shrines because you know your opponent actually can't answer them. Like shrines in an Ugin meta, like a really heavy Ugin meta, is really bad because Ugin minus the 5s, all your work is done. And even against Sultai Ultimatum, it's not that great. Because if your opponent gets up to 7, you pretty much lose. I mean, the older version of this deck I had used to run Ruinous Ultimatums. So basically banked on getting 3 shrines down and then having the green shrine be one of those shrines. So you could just Ruinous Ultimatum your opponent and try to convince them that they shouldn't be playing the game that way. However, it's a little color intensive and Standard at the moment with a little too fast for it. So we ended up shifting down and just picking up the white Wrath as opposed to the 7 mana Wrath. So we go in for Shrine of All. We have not been drawing lands. We're having to sack our food tokens. We're hoping that this will stick around. But, we'll look at things. Our opponent, yep, they had a Village Rites. So Village Rites sack their creature that learns when it dies. They're gonna get the 3 mana, destroy an artifact or enchantment, make a pest equal its converted mana cost. Yeah. Oh no, they got the other one. I guess they don't have green mana, do they? They got the 5 mana exile a permanent, its controller draws a card. We wouldn't mind drawing a card, because hopefully we can hit a land, and then we can actually start playing Magic, but if we do not hit a land, we cannot play Magic. During our turn, we draw nothing. They have another learn creature. Our opponent plays a Kroxa. Luckily for us, don't care about Kroxa. Yeah, no. It's just mainly the fact that we have a handful of cards that we're glad to discard. There's no reason that anyone would ever need 3 Shrines to all, so 2 of them can go. And to be honest, I'm not feeling that we're going to get to be playing the 3-drops anyway, so... Spikefield Hazard kills one of our Gooses. We had 3 of them, so they are expendable. I mean, they're made of gold, so I guess they're valuable, but... we have a Stone Fang's Shrine. Unfortunately, we'd have to get rid of our food to cast it, but I think we're going to do it, because we don't really have anything going on. Our opponent claims the firstborn a Goose, and then they're probably going to draw off of it, because that's the way these type of decks work. As I played in Historic, so I do know you want to claim, or you want to do some kind of sack effect after you claim Village Rites. That's what I was thinking of. There it is, Village Rites. Our opponent doesn't have enough to play Kroxa. Oh. Haven't actually seen that one before. So they're learning. They got a pest summonings. And the game's pretty much over for us. We drew our 3rd land, but our opponent has 7 lands, so there is no catch-up mechanic in Magic that will ever get us out of this situation. We discard, and then I think we're going to concede. Yeah, it's looking like we're getting to that part of the game. Yeah, they have a lot of lethal on board. We have no way to get rid of it, so... I'd like to thank you guys all for watching as I cast my last spell. And I will see you next time. Bye for now. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.